like that, yeah. I like that, yeah.
American Bully, that's a dream. From XL booties to extreme. Pocket standing, not left behind. Bully breathing is a grinder, we don't mind. Pick it up shit, face doing posting. Put in the time, we get up behind. Stand on your 2 feet, no joint crowd. Stay grounded with 10 toes down. Some get big headed when they win at a show. Some act like Joe, plus some hype for the dough. Real breeders are humble, you know. Cause they know just cause you won the class don't mean you won the show.
What's going on, guys? Listen, if you have not hit up on the QBN contest playlist, you really don't know what you're missing. We've actually updated the prize. First prize, you're going to get a full week's paid vacation right here at the Q with me, my dogs, and my yard. Everything I could give you, anything you want to ask is going to be given to you, plus a $500 prize. You're also going to get Nuvet NuJoint DS. Second place, you're getting $200 to be spent on Amazon, plus 2 Nuvet and 2 NuJoint DS's. Third place, I'm sorry, you're only getting $50 to spend on Amazon, plus a Nuvet and NuJoint DS. If you have not started watching QBN's playlist, we're going to be asking 2 questions out of every video. There's only 10 videos to be watched. If you haven't been watching it, I really don't know what you're waiting for. It's been Raul from the Q. I'll be catching you on the next one. What is going on, guys? Friday night dog talk, and tonight we got a hot topic. Turns out, I've been researching, man. I've been researching. We just dropped the video as to ingredients that are actually feeding into yeast, right? Into yeast in your dogs. So let me break a little bit of that down, because I've had so much reception with that. So many people, I mean, literally since yesterday till today, I've had close to 100 DMs and messages asking me more and more about yeast, because let me explain something to you guys. Because ignorance makes you susceptible. That's why knowledge is power. What I mean by that is both the veterinary industry, supplement industry, pet product industry, what have you, they're making a living off of your ignorance, of you not knowing what's actually causing yeast. Okay. And therefore, as long as they keep you in the dark, when it gets overwhelming, you're going to run to the vet's office, who automatically is going to charge you $50 or $100 just to see the pet. That's not even the medications or anything else that's coming with it. So, I've been doing a lot of research, because we are coming up with a series of videos. I already dropped the first video talking about what feeds yeast in kibble. Okay, next video, we're going to talk about environmental factors, how to bathe your dogs, depending on which of the 2 yeast infections your dog is carrying. And then we're going to follow up with online medications that I've used in the past to fight yeast. Now, like I've always said, breeders evolve with time. Breeders evolve with time. Real quick, man, happy 4th of July to everybody. God bless America. Nothing but love, man. Nothing but love for everybody here. Happy Independence Day for everybody. And tonight's show, it's all about making you independent, okay, from the dog / pet / veterinary industry that wants to keep you ignorant so they can take advantage of you. It's the only way they can take advantage of you is keeping you down. So we're making a series. We already spoke about the ingredients that cause yeast. Next up is going to be environmental factors, along with what medications I've used in the past online to be able to fight a yeast infection. And we're going to continue down more and more this rabbit hole, so I could break down for you guys in the easiest ways as to how to be able to combat that. But tonight is not about that. Tonight, we're going to be hitting up on possibly 3 different ingredients that could be making your dogs tremendously sick. And you just have absolutely no clue. After tonight, you're going to have more than a clue. D. Taylor says, hey, everybody, happy 4th. Watch and love on your dogs. Don't forget to lock it up if the dog is startled. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up, D. Taylor. Today is a good day to give your dogs some CBD since fireworks are going to be shot, and have them indoors, man. Have some nice classical music playing, something that relaxes them. I have several dogs that freak out whenever there's thunderstorms or fireworks. Dan Ban KT says, big dog, what's up, man? Thank you for joining us. But listen, tonight we're going to hit up the very first thing the very first ingredient that we're going to be hitting up right now is nothing more. And you're looking at it down here. It's called BHA. And you like how they shorten it, right? BHA, make it nice and simple. In fact, let me do it this way, because I don't think it even deserves a scroll. Here it is, BHA. So BHA is nothing more than butylated hydroxyanisole. Okay, real fancy word, right? That's just to keep you confused and not really know which way is north. It turns out that it's pretty much it ends up being a sort of, or not sort, it's made in a lab. So it's a synthetic, okay? It is synthetic, and it is, the word I'm looking for has just slipped my mind. It is an antioxidant. That's what it is. It is a synthetic antioxidant. So let's break this down real quick so we can understand how all this goes down. Because if you're feeding your dog kibble, you really want to pay attention to this, right? So let's talk about first, what is an antioxidant, right? So an antioxidant in general terms, right? The meaning of that, right, is nothing more. Oh, Dracula's asking real quick, CBD for pregnant female. No, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go there. Maybe some chamomile tea. So an antioxidant is nothing more. So oxidative process. Let me break that down. Oxidative process means the process in which something, whatever that something is, oxidizes. That's a scientific word for rottenness. Okay? Think of it that way. Oxidizing is rotting, degenerating, degrading. Okay? That's what that is. Right? So whenever you hear that antioxidant, what they're saying is it's something that fights the rotting process, the natural rotting process, okay, or the natural breakdown process, the natural degenerating process, okay? That's what that means, okay? But we got New Zealand in the house. Jamel Mendoza, what's going on, man? But here's the thing. Antioxidants are great when they're natural. Blueberries, strawberries, these are things you should be feeding your dogs. Let me give you an example. I have 2 females currently that we're about to breed, right? In particular, so far, we have a banner for our girl who's going to be bred to little Blueberry over here. We're not going to play the song right now, okay? But what I've done with this girl right here, and also the other female that we're going to be breeding, which is my girl Ali right here, is we have increased their antioxidant. Antioxidant. Why? Why did I increase antioxidant on my pregnant females? Well, here's the deal. Females, when they drop eggs, the first 48 hours, those eggs are maturing. It takes them 48 hours to mature. Okay? Typically, once mature, those eggs may have close to 4.5 to 5 days of viability before they oxidate, before they break down and they're consumed again by the body. Okay. However, by giving them antioxidants, anti-rotting, anti-degeneration, right? Those ovums or those eggs that are released, instead of giving me 4.5 days of viability, 2.5 days after 2 days of maturing viability, because of the antioxidants I'm giving them, I might get instead 3 to 4 days of viability for a total of 5.5 days, possibly even 6, before that egg starts breaking down again. So this is really important if you're breeding, because it makes your window of getting the female pregnant longer, right? In addition to that, you're now learning what an oxidative process is, or the breakdown process is, and that you can feed certain particular foods, in this case, blueberries and strawberries, to your dog, right? To combat that oxidative process and elongate it, right? So understanding oxidative process and what you can do to feed it, it's part of this discussion, because the way they shoot it at you is it's a synthetic, right? It's a synthetic, right? Anti-rotting ingredient, right? That's an antioxidant. It's a synthetic antioxidant. So BHA is something, this right here, BHA is something that they're adding to the dog food in order for the dog food to not rotten. One of the biggest obstacles in the dog food industry is the fact that the dog food has to be on a shelf, and they don't know how long it's going to be on a shelf. A lot of us may go shopping at Walmart, and dog food doesn't stay on shelf for too long because so many people are coming in. But you may have this little backcountry store where, these bags may be up there for 2, 3, 4 months. Who knows, right? So that's the reason that they add that. Happy 4th from Most Hated Native. Nothing but love, man. We got Alfonso Smith. We got Dan Band KT. So strawberries and blueberries will help with the process longer. Yeah, strawberries and blueberries will make the females and the males. So hear me out. Both female and males, reproductive, in the female, the eggs, and in the males, the sperm, will make them last a little bit longer before they start breaking down. It's that simple. So if you're having an issue with a male where he has good sperm count, but you lose sperm motility within 48 hours. So when you collected the male, sperm motility is at 95%, 100%. And within 48 hours, it drops down to 60, 50%. I don't know, man. Maybe adding some antioxidants into this dog's diet, right? Blueberries and strawberries, right? In good amounts may lead for these cells, once they're made, to not break down as fast. And then once you ship the sperm, rather than the sperm dying within 48 hours, or not dying, but losing 50% motility in 48 hours, maybe in 48 hours, you have 80% motility, which is exceptional, especially if you're doing a surgical. You see where I'm coming from. So antioxidants, that's what it is. It's an anti-breakdown, an anti-rotter, if you will. So they created the synthetic, right, antioxidant. So why would you create a synthetic antioxidant when you have natural antioxidants, right? So I will say this. If you get enough scientists in the room and you get enough big kibble companies in their pockets, Each one is going to have a viable explanation as to why you should have antioxidants that are synthetic or made in the lab, and the others that, depending who they got in their pocket, will also say why it is that natural synthetics are better, right? Unfortunately, this is the world we're living in. It's not about what's better. It's about whose hand is in my pocket. That's where things are going right now. So I am willing to say that, and this is my opinion, completely speculative, but I'm willing to say that strawberries and blueberries are a lot more expensive than that lab antioxidant you're able to make. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So what ends up happening is they make this antioxidant in a lab, but, right, they don't know initially what the effects are in animals. You know, this is one of the main reasons, guys. I tell you guys over and over again, and with due time, you're going to understand where I'm coming from. This is one of the main reasons why I've allowed myself to be sponsored by Nuvet and NuJoint DS. Listen to me closely. Nuvet and NuJoint DS are made at human food grade level. This right here cannot be added to Nuvet. Why is that? So Nuvet, along with every other supplement out there, has to be certified by the FDA. And then you have all these other, so they have processing certifications and FDA certifications. For them to say that they're making human food grade vitamins, even though they're for dogs, here is a key. BHA, even though added in some pet supplements and many, many, many dog foods, it is not added in Nuvet because it wouldn't be able to have the certification of producing this supplement at food grade level, at human food grade level, which is the maximum level there is, right? So let me continue. So here's the deal. They went ahead and did studies on BHA, and the studies that they made on BHA, let me show you what they found. Now, let me just say this before I say that, before I show you that. This report, first of all, let me bring it up. This way we're all on the same page, guys. This report is by the National Toxicology Program, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. This is not just QBN talking out his ears. This is going off of this report. All right. So let me just show you guys this, because this is pretty much going to floor you. If this doesn't floor you, then really, I don't know what will. But check it out. Butylated. Let me make it as big as possible here, guys. Butylated hydroxyanisole. Reasonably anticipated. Listen, when you hear a scientist talk like this is a scientist talk. It's pretty much telling you what's up. Reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen. I'm not saying that. This is public information brought to you by the toxicology program, right? First listed in the 6th annual report on carcinogens in 1991. Guys, this has been around for a very, very, very long time. Also known as BHA. Look at this. It has other names to it. Dimethylethyl and methoxyphenol. Okay? And then they're showing you their chemical compositions here. It's got 2 BHAs here and 3 BHAs there, right? So this is the BHA right here, right? No, that's not it. My apologies. I'm seeing 3 here and 3 there, so that can't be it. But either way, this is a form of it. This is another form of it, right? all depending as to where they're coming in. Now, check this out. Carcinogenicity. So genesis is the creation of, right? Where something is born. So carcinogenicity means carcino, cancer, where cancer bearing, better yet, that's what this is saying, carcinogenicity, right? Butylated hydroxyanisole is reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen based on sufficient evidence of carcinogenicity from studies in experimental animals. Here's key what I'm about to read to you guys. In fact, forget about me reading it. Y'all can read it for yourselves. I'm going to try to make this as big as possible. You can read it with me. How's that? Cancer studies in experimental animals. Dietary exposure to BHA caused benign and malignant tumors of forestomach, papilloma, and squamous cell carcinoma in rats of both sexes and in male mice and hamsters, right? Since BHA was listed in the 6th annual report on carcinogens, an additional study in experimental animals has been identified. Dietary administration of BHA to fish, right? And then check it out. Hermaphroditic rivulus marmoratus as larvae caused liver cancer, hepatocellular carcinoma in the adult fish. Guys, this is not me saying it. This is not me coming out here trying to taint a company, badmouth it, or any company using this particular thing. This thing is there. Real quick, let me go to the comments. We got Diana Spinosa. Kel, hi family, happy birthday, America. There it is. By the way, July 4th has a lot of meaning to me. Not only is it America's Independence Day, it's also the day I got married to my beautiful wife. Today, we're sharing our 11th year anniversary. So, baby, I love you. Nothing but love. So, we got Dan Band KT. So, is Purina Pro Plan, is it a good food? Dan Band KT, he just wants answers tonight, man. He's straight up. I love it. Louis DeMille, hey, family, I'm home. You got it, man. Kel, you're here. You're at your home. I get you. Kel, Raul, every question that actually the standards are at production, but not final product for package and distribution. Food to be at grade. I'm sorry, Kel. You need to rewrite that, bro. You got me. It didn't make sense. Good evening, Success Yeri, number love. Compound split breakdown. In simple terms, BHA on packaging is only broken down into the simple. Okay. Kel, give me a chance to get into it, bro. I'm trying to, get into it and break it down. Dan Band says, happy anniversary. Thank you, man. Number love. Congrats, Raul. And actually, it's Coach Karen. Coach Karen, what is going on? All the way from Arizona, I believe. In Sarata, happy anniversary, Raul and wife. Thank you. I know she's watching. She's watching live. Michelle Brokaw, can I bathe my baby boy with baking soda to help with itchy and swelling on his body? Can his soak and baking soda bath? Yes, you can. Dan Band, I do. I have breed to do when I get home, need all the knowledge. All right, man. So Dan Band, let me tell you something, along with anybody else, if the information we're providing for you is good, make this your home. We're going live every Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. If you want me to answer all of your questions, you need to at least become a member to this channel for as little as $5 a month. I'm going to answer every single question that a member asks. And to be a member, you got to have that little symbol that Detailer has. Thank you, Detailer, right next to the name. So BHA, let's get back to BHA, man. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at what BHA looks like, right? When you're looking up a bag of dog food. Because right now, maybe not now because today is 4th of July, but a lot of you are probably going to watch this on the replay And you're going to want to know if the food that you're feeding your dog has BHA. So I'm going to help you out, figure out where to look and where it should come up, right? So not only did we drop a video where we showed it, I'm going to be showing it here on the live. So there you have it. There you have it. This particular bag is Pedigree. Pedigree is the bag I did in the most recent video I did. I flipped over the bag of Pedigree. I ain't gonna lie to you. I already knew that $20, $23 bag of dog food with all that dog food in it was gonna have something crazy in it. And I wasn't wrong. Preserved with BHA. That's what it looks like, guys. That's what it looks like. Another thing I'm going to inform you while we're here, okay? Look at the very first ingredient all the way in the top left. Hold on, man. Y'all got to see this, man, because look at over here in the very top left. First ingredient, wheat flour. Wait a minute, bro. I thought dogs were carnivores. No, we're going to bake a cake. That's what we're going to do, right? That's pretty much what they're telling you. First ingredient is wheat flour. Do you think for a minute that wolves out in the wild, they're hunting wheat? And if they did eat wheat in large amounts, what do you think is happening? That's causing inflammation. High carbohydrates, high sugar foods, right, to dogs cause inflammation. When you make it systemic, meaning you have given them so much of this food right here that their entire body on the inside is inflamed, that's when you lead to yeast infection. That's where something like BHA over here can cause cancers and wreak all sorts of havoc. Let me tell you what else is in here that just makes me shake my head. Corn syrup. Like, explain to me how corn syrup ends up in a bag of kibble. Corn syrup. Now, look, I know I'm not a scientist. I'm pretty sure the majority of us that are watching aren't either. My question is, how can someone be in a position to be able to defend the ingredients that we're looking at in this bag? Corn syrup. Are you freaking kidding me? Right? So let's see what else. All right. So right next to preserved with BHA, I want you to take a look at meat and bone meal. Anytime you see the word meal, they make it sound as beautiful as they can. What it means is the leftovers. It's pretty much where the skin and the hair and the lower layer of fat and a little bit of meat kind of meet together. We're going to grind that whole thing together, make it one big old paste. And, we're going to call it a meal. We're going to call it meat and bone meal. Yeah, of course, they're going to throw some bones in there. So they're going to call it meat and bone meal, right? There's an old Cuban saying that says, el chicharrón no es carne, which means pork rinds is not meat, right? Don't get it confused. Pork rinds are pork rinds and meat is meat. The same here, okay? Whenever you see the word meal, what it means is they're shoving lower or lesser, right? Lesser protein down your throat, right? And so you're probably thinking, well, protein is protein. Well, no, protein is not protein. First of all, plant protein works different in a carnivore. Second of all, lower grade protein also works different in a carnivore. You see, lower grade protein can cause the dog to be immunocompromised. What does that mean? That means that the dog's immune system cannot work at its full potential, now making it susceptible to yeast infection, to cancers, to illnesses, to just about anything, because it's not taking in what it really needs, right? I've always said, you don't feed a steak to a parakeet, right? Because even if you put it in a blender and somehow shove it down the parakeet's throat, its body doesn't know what to do with that. It's used to eating seeds. It has different dietary needs. So what makes you think that baking a dog a cake, wheat and flour, okay, is gonna make the dog healthy? Straight up. Look, this other one over here, soybean meal. So soybean, we know it's high in protein. It's also a vegetable, right? It's also cheap, easily accessible. But no, that's not enough. We got to get a meal, meaning you're not getting the entire soybean. You're getting the parts that have been taken off, right? Kind of shriveled away. You're not getting the full benefit of that, even though that is a plant-based protein, which your dog is not going to treat like a meat-based protein, right? Happy 4th of July, American friends, and happy anniversary, Raul EJ. Nothing but love, man. Appreciate you, man. Most definitely Will says Queen's New Blood. Shawnee Webster, happy anniversary, 4th of July. You got it, man. Nothing but love. Uncle Mel says this guy here has definitely been one of the most on-point people I've came across. He's done his homework, and his info has helped a lot with my own Excel bullies. Nothing but love, Unc. Nothing but love, man. Hey, that's all I got, bro. That's all I got. For those of you that don't know, I am a nurse. I am a registered nurse. Been a registered nurse now for what? 14 years, right? And this is my cup of tea, man. Getting into it, breaking it down, figuring out, what's causing, yeast infection in dogs, what's causing cancer in dogs. If I could give you just a little piece of information, and that little piece of information can lead you to make better choices, then my job is done, man. It's as simple as that. We got Cal over here. Okay, what I was saying is the FDA only controls the production of the dog food and mention of, however, not the amount nor how the storage and packaging affects the compound of the preservatives. Thank you. You're absolutely on point. What you're seeing in the label is before this thing gets cooked. So all this garbage you're seeing here, once it gets cooked, a lot of it is going to get degraded. A lot of it is going to get, remember we spoke about antioxidants and oxidative effects and degeneration and rotting and breaking down. Well, when you put dog food or these ingredients into a protruder to make dog food, it's got to cook at high temperatures. Vitamins, minerals, and everything else in there it's all getting degenerated while it's going in. We're going to get into that here in a second. Kel says, hope that makes better sense. It absolutely does. Billy Watton coming in late. What's up, everyone? Happy Aloha 4th of July Friday. Happy anniversary, Raul and Miss QBN. Number love, man. Appreciate you. I know she's watching in the other room right now. I'm pretty sure she's giggling. Number love. Kel, would look so. You got me there, Kel. You got me there. D. Taylor, everything after the salt doesn't count. That's just flour, corn syrup, and meat and bone meal. That's crazy. Yes, everything after salt is in very minimal proportions, right? Which is another reason to raise hell that BHA is way in front of salt, which means even though small amounts are used, trust me when I say this, and we're going to get into it, even with small amounts, it is a carcinogen. So think about this. You're feeding the same dog food for 3 months, right? And that carcinogen is there. Say you're feeding 0.01% of the total bag, right? And you're feeding it for 90 days, right? So let's do some simple math here, right? So we're going to say 90, right? 90 times 0.01, right? Right? That's what we're going to look at. So in essence, they're getting 0.9% or almost a full 1% by the time the 90 days are done. Here's what's crazy. Even in those small amounts, it is shown to be to have carcinogenity, meaning creation of cancer. How do you like them apples? Eric Paris Macbeth, hello, man. Number love, man. Kel, would you like Grey Poupon or meat pape? French Grosh mush on toast. There you go. Shout out APBT Philippines. What's going on, man? What's up, Raul from Roswell, New Mexico? Hey, say what's up to UFOs out there for me, man. Kel says you still get the deleted messages when I type in cursive. Let me show you guys a couple of things, man, because some of you are not aware of some of the things that, you know, go behind the scenes whenever I come out and I do my studies and whatnot. I'm trying to bring here it is. So if you're wondering why I can no longer talk about Bully Max, for example, because I got a bunch of people hitting me up asking me questions about, hey, what about Bully Max? What about this and that? Well, look, man, I'm gonna show you so we could all be on the same page, right? And I'm gonna leave you with something. So I got this, okay? I got this back in December 7, 2023. I had made 2 videos talking about ingredients that go into this particular both Kibble, I believe, and also their supplements. Basically, I got a cease and desist letter. Okay, a cease and desist letter. Guys, I am not known to come out here and talk nonsense. Like Unc said, I do my homework before I come out here and say anything, right? I show you the ingredient list. It turns out they pretty much bullied me in the sense that I'm sure they have a buffet of lawyers that are just sitting there waiting for a case to come in their hands, and whether it does or doesn't, they're still getting paid. So I would never go up against a company not like that, but even smaller than that, because in litigation alone, they will bankrupt me. Not just me, anybody else out here watching, right? So please don't ask about that company, because even if I want to speak on it, I can't, man. I'm not out here trying to get sued. But all I'm going to say is this. Why would a company like that send that to me and make sure that I take everything down? Because if what I was saying was BS, why not leave it out there and let people come out here and tell me that what I said was BS? That wasn't what happened. What happened was I unveiled something, it seems, and I might have triggered something in the process, right? So, XL Champs, I've been using your chicken and rice recipe. Fire. When are you going to give us a new recipe? I'm going to start dropping some recipes, including a newer and better improved anti-yeast recipe. So we're going to make an anti-yeast, anti-cancer, anti-allergy. That's where we're headed. Dearest Chapman Cooley, brother, in due time, man. There you go, man. No, let me purchase the subscriptions for some reason. Yeah, man, just go down to the description below, become a member, and once you follow the prompts for as little as $5, man, none below. Shawnee Webster just went and pulled out my bag of kibble. It has DL-methionine in, as well as the others you mentioned. Gonna throw it out. Thank you so much for this live, learning so much. Shawnee, you have no idea. You make me so proud as to what we're doing. This is exactly it right here. If I could at least help one person enlighten you and make you make better choices for your dog, then I've done what I set out to do. Kel says, I need binoculars to read that, and go figure. It's free game. It's published. EJ, Raul will give you the tools to evaluate these brands for yourself. This is what I do. EJ, you hit it on the head. So I think it's a bully thing. Companies publish, and it's fair game to dispute awareness liability on them. Well, let me continue on the path with BHA, because we already know it's an antioxidant, right? So we know that it stops the rotting process in kibble, right? In dry dog food. And we also know that it was made in a lab. It's synthetic, right? So what they did was they had to start doing trials, because that's That's how our society works. We invent something that's cheaper than what's natural, but before you could bring it to the market, you got to do a study on lab animals. Yet they are finding that rats were getting cancer, right? Or let me rewind. It did say malignant, and then it said benign and malignant tumors. So it's getting both types of tumors. And I believe it said squamous cell papilloma. I could be wrong. Let me go back so forestomach, my bad. Forestomach papilloma and squamous cell carcinoma. Okay. So 2 types of cancers, man. 2 types of cancers in mice. Now, the reason that mice are used in labs, first of all, they're very disposable, right? Humans, even in the US, even though we love animals and whatnot, for the most part, we kind of don't like rats too much, right? In general, I'm talking about general terms. In addition to that, they have a link to us humans, right? If you go back enough in the evolution chain, at one point we were on the same boat. And from somewhere along the evolution line, so did pigs and dogs and cats come out of, right? Way back. I'm not talking about where the monkeys are. I'm talking about way back, right? So I'm saying all that to say this. If it's showing cancer in rats and it's showing cancer in humans, but there is no dog experiments or research or studies done. By the way, do you know why that is? Do you know why there's so much limited research into dogs? I'm going to help you connect these dots. You're going to see where I'm coming from. So, right? So you got rats that are used universally to do experiments on. And then you got humans, right? That some of them get paid so that they could be tried on. Certain things could be tried on them. So in this case, it doesn't seem like it was tried on humans, and I'm going to go straight to their language, and it's only their language I'm going to pull because I don't want to be misquoting them. It says at the top, reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen. It is reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen. To me, that means that more likely than not, that's what that is, right? A carcinogen for humans. But we're not going to try it on humans because it goes against ethics, morals. We could probably get sued, right? So in between rats and humans, we got these dogs, right? We got dogs. And the reason that there isn't many studies in dogs, right, is because the studies that you're going to find in dogs usually are made by companies within the industry trying to prove that that new synthetic whatever they came out with is good for dogs because it's good for business, right? So in BHA in particular, nobody really wants to do a study on dogs, which tells me they already probably did it. They just didn't get the results they wanted. If it's probable cause for carcinogen for humans, and it's definitely a cause of carcinogens in rats, what do you think the middle piece, the dog? It's just too obvious, but it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. There's another one, right? There is another one, and I call it BHA's brother, right? BHA's brother, and is none other than BHT, good old BHT, right? And you're probably thinking, what the hell is that? Trust me, I had to look it up myself, man. So, BHT, let me bring it up here. Let's bring it up here. Let's bring it up here. Let's bring it up here. Hold on a second, guys. I've just lost it. I had it up here. Give me a second. Here it is. Here it is. So, let me make it nice and big because I want you to read it along with me, right? Because I'm just not, this is not just coming out my ears, man. So let me bring it up. And there it is. Bingo. Definition. What is BHT in dog food? Definition. BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene, is a synthetic antioxidant, a fat-soluble compound derived from phenol, used to preserve fats and oils in dog food. It prevents rancidity. I told you guys about it going rotten by inhibiting oxidation of lipids, of fats. Lipids means fat, typically added at 0.02% of fat content per FDA regulation. Then purpose, found in commercial kibbles, wet foods. So it's not just kibbles. Wet foods are carrying it. They're also carrying something called carrageenan. I'm going to look it up here in a minute. I'll show you. That's also linked to cancer. Some Purina and Pedigree lines. BHT extends shelf life. Remember, I said shelf life is a big deal for kibble companies. That's where they make their moolah. Maintaining nutritional quality and palatability for months. It's also used in human products like cosmetics and chewing gum. How do you like that? BHT, right? Well, we're about to find out what it does. Regulatory status. The FDA classifies BHT as generally recognized as safe, or GRAS, as regulated levels with maximum of 150 milligrams per kilogram in pet food. However, the European Union restricts its use. And Japan has banned it in some contexts, citing health concerns. So let's read about it. Health potential benefits. Pet food industry, AFCO, which is the one that regulates basically the pet food industry, argues BHT protects essential fatty acids, preserving vitamins like E, which could support skin health in breeds like bullies prone to yeast issues. We're about to talk about this here in a second. Risks. Research. The National Toxicology Program. That's the same program that found BHA to do what it did. Here we go. Links high doses of BHT to liver and kidney damage in rats. Listen to that. With possible carcinogenic effects at levels far exceeding pet food norms. Critics, e.g. WholeDogJournal.com, highlight that chronic exposure in dogs fed daily might accumulate risks, though no definitive canine cancer link exists. How do you know? Side effects like allergic reactions or gastrointestinal upset are rare, but possible. So, BHT, right? You got the BHA to the BHT, right? BHA, BHT. BHA causing cancer, BHT causing liver and kidney issues. That's right. You can get it all in one bag. We're gonna hook you up. So they're gonna basically, you're paying for your dog's poison, right? So that when he gets sick, you can take him to the vet. So the vet can then tell you about Hill Science Diet. The one that we have on the shelf is excellent. So aside from you now paying out your ear, right? Because your dog now either has kidney damage, liver damage, or some sort of cancer, God forbid. He's also trying to sell you what he's got up there that's marketing as if though, hey man, Hill Science Diet. That sounds like so scientific, right? Yeah. You guys need to be very careful what you're putting into your dog's mouth. That's all I'm going to say. Don't want to get in trouble, but definitely you need to be very careful what it is that you're putting into your dog's mouth. So let's take a look here. At, let me put here, dog food with BHA and BHT. So not only can these two ingredients cause allergies on their own, which you are already feeding that wheat and all that other cheap stuff that comes in the cheap bag of kibble, that's causing inflammation, right? It's already causing inflammation throughout the dog's body, right? Well, you're not stopping there. You know, in addition, you're going to go ahead and shoot in some BHA, which is cancer causing, and BHT, which is kidney and liver damage causing. Here's the deal. Most dogs, most people that have reached out to me that are talking about their dogs are sick. Their dogs have a yeast infection. Guys, yeast infection, I already broke it down in the video. 2 main causes of yeast infection. You ready? Okay, here it goes. Immunosuppression, that's the second most common cause, right? And that one, remember I said malassezia is going to be the top type of yeast contaminant or yeast infection that a dog's going to have. And then you have Candida, right? Candida albicans. Candida, which is the number 2, is caused because the dog's body is immunocompromised. It can't fight. It can't fight whatever, right? So this is why they get Candida albicans. The other one, malassezia, is because they are internally inflamed. What inflames them? Foods that are high with sugary things like wheat flour, like I just showed you. Let me see if I can find another food label here so we can break it down. Here, let me bring back that one food label, because that one is just so atrocious. It's really commendable that they would even, you know, find such a thing. Here, check it out. By the way, if you're hearing the fireworks, I'm not being shot at, guys. It's just my neighbors shooting fireworks. So here you have it. Here you have it. Look at it. Wheat flour, right? So that right there is going to cause allergies. That's an allergen, wheat. So there's 3 main wheats. I mean, 3 main plant allergens. And that's wheat, right underneath it, soybean, and all the way to the right, corn, right? And then not only do you have the 3 plant allergens in here, you got them at their worst form possible. Wheat flour, soybean meal, right? I already told you guys about meal. Meal means it's a lower level protein, a lower level whatever. That's what meal is. And then you go to corn, and no, it's not just corn. Why would we give you real kernels of corn? No, we got a cheaper product. It's corn syrup. Yeah, man, you don't know. We even make ketchup out of it. We even make honey packs out of corn syrup and sell it to you as honey because, hey, honey is way too expensive than corn syrup. Then your dog becomes inflamed with these particular ingredients. Then something like BHA over here, right, which we know causes cancer in lab animals, and it's, what's the language they say again? It's reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen, right? But we're going to go ahead and put it in your dog food because at the end of the day, you need to be a scientist to figure this stuff out. And we're putting our money that you're just an idiot and you're not going to figure it out. That's what this is right here, right? And then they slap some meat and bone meal, right? Right? So just to make it seem like there's something in there that's nutritious, right? That's what this is coming down to, bro. Let me go to the comments because y'all are just lighting it up right about now. Yeah. Wait, I gotta go back. I think it's a bully. Okay, so is any kibble good? Is any kibble good for our dogs? Chris Dobson, I'm gonna answer this. I'm gonna answer your question right now. In my opinion, right? This is Raul Fagundes speaking. This is why you must learn, right? This is why I have this platform. You need to learn what to use where and why you're using it. Let me give you a perfect example. If you go to my detox video, my yeast detox video, first ingredient is potatoes. Video I just made yesterday. says that potatoes is one of the ingredients you don't want inside of kibble. So you're probably scratching your head and you're like, bro, so if we don't want it in kibble, why is it that you're cooking it over here? Well, excellent question. Here comes my answer. My answer is simple. When you cook potato actually has something in it that is fungal fighting. However, the way I cook the potato in a steamer, right, there's more water, right, than there is potato by the time it's done because it absorbs the water I'm putting into it. Kibble, the way it's made is the other way around. The water is taken out. And because the water is taken out and you're trying to preserve everything in there, now you're adding all these carcinogens and all these other things. Plus, that potato, once it got put through a protruder, it's no longer going to be the same thing that was going in through it. You see where I'm coming from. Also, you got to use a little bit of common sense. If you're trying to fight yeast, even though I'm putting potatoes in my yeast recipe, if your dog doesn't show improvement within a week to 10 days, take the potatoes out. It's not going to be the end of the world. The reason the potatoes are there is because there's something in the skin of the potato and also on the inside that actually can fight fungus. Okay, but if potato causes too high of a sugar spike in your dog, take it out. It's really that simple. That's why we're coming out with a newer recipe. And Saratha says, wow, DL-methionine is in my kibble too. What'd I tell you? BHA. You see how it hides? You see how they hide it? BHA. Oh, no, wait. DL-methionine. Oh, no, wait. Let's change it up to whatever else that we're calling it. I'm telling you, Nadine, better late than never. Howdy, folks. What's going on, man? Kel says, you know, we both attack this the same, Raul. It's all about tissue breakdown and the pace. It another form that's not specific. Okay, you got me there at the end. The place. Okay. Inserata, so DL-methionine is the same as BHA. Is that correct? Yes. Right? Yes. Let me go back. Let me bring it back. Bring it back, DJ. Let's bring it back, man. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it because this is something that you guys need to know. Here you go. Here you go. Dimethyl. No. So methionine is not this one. I'm sorry, I got confused. I'm a human being. Don't shoot me now. But let's look up that ingredient, right? Let's look up that DL-methionine immediately, and let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation, right? Let's have a conversation. What does it do? See here. It doesn't seem. Hold on a second. Let me look it up here. Because I deep dive, guys. I don't just go off of the first thing that you're gonna get in Google, man. Sometimes, you know how it goes, man. Depends who's sponsoring at the moment. It's a synthetic form of methionine, essential amino acid. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let me bring you guys in with me, right? So, sorry guys, it's just me here tonight. My guys are out celebrating. So here we go. Let's read it together. So DL-methionine is a synthetic form of methionine. You notice how it's synthetic? Everything is synthetic. An essential amino acid required for protein synthesis, growth, and metabolism in dogs. DL indicates a racemic mixture of D and L isomers, with the L form being biologically active. It's added to dog food to meet AAFCO minimum protein requirements. 18% for adults and 22% for growth. Purpose: used as a supplement in kibble or wet food. Look, e.g. Royal Canine Hillside's diet has it. To balance amino acid profiles, especially in diets low in animal protein. So basically what this thing just said is that these companies are using that, right, to meet the protein levels required by AAFCO and they're especially used in diets low in animal protein. So they're substituting this stuff for animal protein. It supports coat health, digestion, and urine acidification to prevent struvite stones per PetMD. Sources naturally found in meat, fish, eggs, but synthetic DL-methionine is common in commercial diets to reduce costs. It's black and white. I'm not saying it. Health implications, benefits, veterinary studies, e.g. Journal of Animal Science says, show that DL-methionine improves growth in puppies and maintains skin and coat integrity. We're going to talk about this here. Vital for bullies prone to yeast-related dermatitis. It also aids liver function by supporting glutathione production. All right, risks. Excess intake of greater than 1% of the diet can over-acidify urine, risking bladder stones or irritation per VSA animal hospitals. High doses may stress kidneys in sensitive dogs, though data is limited. The establishment, AFCO, deems it safe at 0.3 to 0.5% of dry matter, but long-term effects are understudied. Let me explain something to you, man. If you're watching and you're feeding Kibble, just know this. When you see this here, understudied, let me ask you something, man. Understudied, right? Understudied. Let me ask you something. Nowadays, everything is studied. Why would we understudy this? Let me tell you what I think. This is just my opinion and is protected by the First Amendment. I think that they studied it and they realized that it's better to conveniently understudy it. You understand where I'm coming from? Conveniently look the other way. That's what I think. Yeast connection. No direct evidence links DL-methionine to yeast infections, but unbalanced diets. High methionine with low antioxidants might weaken immunity, indirectly aiding malassezia and candida growth. Bruh. You know, what that's pretty much saying is that DL-methionine is a synthetic protein that is made so instead of killing a chicken and adding it to the kibble, right, which already shot up with steroids and growth hormones, no, we're doing that to make her speed up so we could, make money off of the bag. But then somebody said, hey, I have something that I can make in the lab that who cares if it's better or worse than the chicken and makes more money. And that's why they're adding this to it, right? And then notice how this says, all right, notice what it's saying here. Here you go. Okay, notice what it says, right? Look, might weaken immunity, indirectly aiding malassezia or candida growth. Effects are understudied. Listen, you don't have to be a scientist to understand what was just said. If you just have a little street, you have just a little hair, an inkling, just a little bit of street in you, you know exactly what they just told you. Okay? Exactly what they just told you. All right. Nadie's 100% is carcinogenic. Nadie says, that's why I do not feed my pups kibble. You see, not only when you're feeding puppies kibble, right, are they getting carcinogens, they're getting lab-made proteins that may make them grow so fast that their soft tissue can't keep up. And that's one of the sources for your East-West. They want to confuse the public because they know the average person doesn't know what anything is. They don't expect people to question chemistry. Well, that's why you come here. And that's what we're going to talk about here. And we're going to break down here. And they can send me as many cease and desist letters as they like. The fact of the matter is, I can walk to, say, a Walmart or whatever store they're selling whatever they're selling. I can look at the label and I can pretty much practice my First Amendment right of having an opinion on something that is public, right? And that's what we're going to be doing here. Nadine says, Bully family, trust me, it's so much cheaper to feed your pets raw or cooked as opposed to kibble. This is correct, Nadine. What the average person doesn't understand is that why feed, just an example, why feed $40 worth of raw to this dog in a week when I could feed this $20 bag of kibble for the whole month? Well, I'm going to tell you straight up, fam. You either pay for it at the very front or you're going to pay for it at the very end. And if you're trying to breed here, I'm just letting you know, inflammation is going to stop your breeding program. Bitches are not going to take, or they're going to have pyometria, UTIs. They're going to have all sorts of health issues, or they're going to be consuming time and time again, right? That's the reason for it. Devera Hicks, thank you. Learning a lot. Number love. Hey, if you're learning, the least that you can do is subscribe to the channel. You could go down to the description, subscribe to the channel. So when we go live, you get a notification. You don't miss anything. Also, if you can't catch us live, hey, man, when you're driving to or from work, make sure to flip us on. Listen to it a couple of times. Let it sink in. Kel says, dang, Shawnee, what line on the label? All of it. Hillside's Diet, Blue Buffalo, etc. Man, I'm glad you saying it, Nadies, because they love sending me cease and desist letters. Oh, nay, the expensive brands have the highest toxins. Listen, guys, I have sat here and told you guys, I know there's new people that are meeting the channel now. I get that. But those of you that have been watching this, I've been talking since I've been blue in the face that kibble is nothing more than poison for dogs. I don't care if it's the higher end. I don't care what brand it is. I could care less. It could be the very top brand where you're paying $500 for 1 pound of it. I could care less. The fact that it's going through a particular process is what I'm referring to, which is another reason why I keep coming back around and you guys keep telling me, oh, but Nuvet is so magical. No, it ain't magical, bro. You've been feeding poison, right? This has nothing but natural ingredients at human food grade level. It isn't cooked. It is cold pressed. So your dog could actually take in some vitamins that it can't be taken from the kibble since it's cooked. And then not only cooked, then they got to put it on the shelf. Well, did you know vitamin A, C, and E? Why do you think they're putting the BHA in there? They just told you. Vitamin E oxidizes when it touches oxygen. So vitamin A, C, and E and D are going to aced. Think about it that way. Aced. A, C, E, and D are going to oxidize with air. Don't take my word for it, man. Look it up, right? So the longer that bag is on the shelf, the less effective it is for your dog. So the other thing you need to start doing, I'm going to make a video on this. The other thing you need to start doing, I'm going to start showing you guys where to find the production date and the lot number of whatever it is that you're buying. You need to know when that bag was made, because if it was made 6 months ago, you need to walk out of that store, go to another store. I'm not for you feeding kibble, but I'm less for you feeding old kibble, if you know what I'm saying, right? So let's go through these comments here real quick. D. Marie, I just spent over 3 hours cooking for my 4 giant breed dogs, Borbles, number love, chicken, turkey, organs with kale. Okay, we're going to talk about organs, Marie. Blueberries, sardines, I like it. You have antioxidants in blueberries. We got omega-3s in sardines. There you go. I can't do raw with 4 large dogs. I do the best I can. But you can do raw. You need to check out my raw videos. If you have a Walmart near you, I can tell you right now, I get 10 pounds of chicken quarters for $5.72. Very, very doable, okay? And, you know, things like carrots and green beans, they're very accessible within range. Let me talk to you. Excuse me. Let me talk to you about the chicken and turkey organs. So I feed raw. I also feed kibble, and I also feed cooked. But I'm only feeding maybe 10% kibble, and I'm feeding about 20% cooked. So between cooked and kibble, you're looking at maybe 30%. Everything else is raw. However, I don't feed liver. Why, Raul? Why wouldn't you feed liver? Well, you don't feed liver because chickens in this country and cows are stuck with steroids, hormones, antibiotics. You don't know. Not only that, you could have a cow that's sickly and they'll slaughter it because it's for feed grade. This right here is made at human food grade level through FDA certification. Guys, look it up. Don't go off just what I'm saying. So what that means is if a cow's sickly, you can't kill it to get ingredients to put it in there. Not going to happen. It's being made at human food grade level. That's what makes all the difference in the world. This is why, and I've shown this millions of times, but let me just show you, right? Because I could better show you than tell you. Here you go. Check it out. Look on the screen. All the way to the very, very left, right, of the screen. That's my boy Fireball at 12 weeks, right? Look at him at 15 weeks. You know what I was feeding him at the time? And guys, you shouldn't feel bad about it. I was actually feeding kibble. I was one of the Victor's advocates. Victor dog food, premium dog food. I was a super advocate back then. Fireball's 8 years old. Check it out. That's his story. Look at him at 20 weeks. He's already going Easty Westy. For those of you that don't know what Easty Westy is, the front paws are going to open up, right? And that's because the soft tissue has weakened, not only because of the high amount of protein that Victor Puppy Food was providing, which was 30%. In addition to that, the crappy level of protein that my dog was getting, the meals that were included. Remember I talked about the low-level proteins? Well, there you have it. You can't have a better example. So where it says supplement added at 20 weeks, I actually made a video where I started feeding my dog raw. I started feeding pumpkin. I started feeding sweet potato. I started feeding vitamin C. I started feeding glucosamine. And I didn't know the exact amounts, but I did the best that I could. And you could tell right next to that, probably about 3 weeks to a month had gone by. Look how well his feet started to correct. Okay. Look at him at 1 year old. Look at him at 2.5. Right. Look at him now. Right. I call him Mr. Perfect. That's what we call him around here. Look at his front paws. Right. It's no coincidence. None whatsoever. And what do I attribute it to? I'm going to tell you right now. Right. Just like I told you, I changed it. I changed the diet. I'm attributing it to Nuvet NuJoint DS. Actually, this would have made him correct faster because I am not a scientist. I am a nurse, right? So this is scientifically formulated, not just by veterans, nutritionists, even a medical doctor, right? This is scientifically formulated so that one thing makes a synergistic effect with the other. So Nuvet does a synergistic effect with NuJoint DS. That's why if you only buy the green bottle, you might not get as good results than when you buy both bottles. Here's the key about this. This is 90-day supply. You get 90 wafers with this green bottle. With the blue bottle, that is more weight-based. So if you have a dog that weighs a lot, it might not last you the 90 days. I'm sorry, it is what it is, right? But nonetheless, when you do the math, this stuff comes out to about $1.67 a day. And you're like, well, what? Listen, bro, you're feeding that cheap kibble. Your dog's getting inflammation. You need something to combat that inflammation and to actually give the dog the vitamins they need. I mean, straight up. Let's see here. So yeah, Miss, where is she at? I just missed her. My bad. Here she is, Miss D. Marie. Yeah, I wouldn't be feeding liver anymore, in my opinion. I know you're trying the best you can. My recommendation is Nuvet NuJoint DS. It's only going to be like $1.67 a day, Ain't going to kill you. V. Oakley says, Nadies, XLs agree. I feed real food. It might not be raw because we cook it, but my pups eat what we eat, especially for dinner. Okay, you got to be careful with that too. You don't want to give them too much high sugars or high fats. Remember that high fats can cause pancreatitis in puppies. Just remember that. And dogs in general. D. Marie says, I add what I cook to their kibble. Again, you also don't want high salts. Their kidneys are not our kidneys, right? Just throwing that out there. V. Oakley, my son is a hunter, so we get plenty of venison, pork, chicken, turkey. V. Oakley, do you have an extra son that goes hunting also? If you can send him over my way, I'll sponsor him, and I'll definitely get venison and everything else. Just messing with you. Devera Higgs, Hill Science Diet is what the dog shelter gives you when you adopt an animal. Yeah, they might as well give you pedigree, in my opinion. Kel says, D. Marie, absolutely understood. He does suggest a kibble, but I will let him say he just wants awareness of the kibble itself. Yes, I'm going to tell you guys what kibble we're using at this time, and I find to be effective. And that's Members Mark, salmon, and sweet potato. Okay, it's going to run you about $35 for a 30-pound bag. Okay, it's salmon and sweet potato. And the reason I'm going to that, guys, is because it's increasing the omega-3s who are naturally in salmon. Okay, am I happy, 100% happy with this kibble? There's certain things in it that I'm not happy about, but here's the thing. My dogs are not allergic to it, and that is pea. Pea is one of the ingredients that they put in there that I'm against, right? Because dogs could have pea allergies. But my dogs are not showing allergies to that. Not only that, because I'm only feeding 10% kibble, kibble's getting overpowered by the amount of omega-3s is already bringing. Omega-3s I'm already giving through sardines, right? Plus everything else I'm giving to my dogs. So just don't let kibble be the main thing you're giving to your dog, guys. That's just my opinion. Let's see. V. Oakley says corn syrup should not be made. And so out the corn syrup is too much sugar for a human too. Okay, so think about it. Does a dog have a pancreas that we got? No, he's a carnivore. That's why he only has 7 feet of intestine while you and I are walking around with 30 feet of intestine. You see what I mean? That's why they got to be pooping so many times, right, throughout the day. Kel says, Oakley, that's great, but even with that, freeze, then feed. Okay. Yeah. When you do get venison or whatever, especially out there, you want to freeze it for 21 days. This way you can destroy the eggs and the mature parasites inside of the meat. V. Oakley, I'm new sub here. I love your content and info. V. Oakley, number love. Make sure to become a member. For as little as $5 a month, I'm going to be answering all of your questions, all right? Nadie says brown rice with turmeric, steamed protein meat, veggies, spinach, carrots, broccoli, kale, etc. Dessert, nice, cool melon. Okay, listen, Nadie, let's talk about your little diet here. I love it. I love it. First of all, guys, I don't know if you're aware of this, but turmeric is the most potent anti-inflammatory known to man. This right here. So make sure that you look up the dosages that you're going to be feeding to your dog, because it will make the blood thin. If your dog gets a cut, it may bleed out a lot. However, turmeric is one of the best things that you could give your dog, but you got to know how to give it to them. So turmeric becomes very susceptible to stomach acids. You got to realize dogs are predators, right? They're carnivores. So the stomach acids have to be able to break down bone and anything else that falls in there. Turmeric is very sensitive to stomach acids. So if you just give them turmeric without what I'm about to say, most of it's going to get destroyed before the dog actually absorbs it in the small intestine. So what do you add to turmeric to increase the absorbability? And that's nothing more than black pepper. Now, you ain't going to go crazy and make a hot pepper chili black pepper sauce or anything like that. No, just a little bit of pepper, okay, to go along with that turmeric. And then you need something that is fat soluble, basically fat, okay? Whether it's coconut oil, you can make it into a little paste with coconut oil. I've done it where I made a little paste and I'll throw it in the freezer, let it freeze, give it to my dog, let it lick it, eat it, swallow it, whatever. It's great, right? Or what you can do, something else is cheese. What I do is I will melt cheese in the microwave for about 10 seconds. I add the turmeric, add the pepper, make it into a little spaceship, and give it to my dogs, and they freaking love it. And this way, you get the full benefit of the turmeric going in. Now, I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. I'm going to let you in on a little secret because you guys know that I am all about natural solutions. Sometimes natural solutions are not enough. Okay, I'm not gullible. I'm well aware of that. And sometimes we have to go the chemical route. But I try doing everything possible to not go the nuclear route, right? So I'm going to let you know. Turmeric, since it's the most powerful anti-inflammatory known to man, is going to be one of your main weapons, along with omega-3 fatty acids, to fight yeast infection. Because yeast infection, 70% of the time, remember, malassezia tells you that 70% of the time it appears because your dog is eating high carbohydrate, high sugary foods, which cause internal inflammation. Once it becomes systemic, then all you're doing on the outside is just treating the symptom. Oh, the vet just gave me this. Let me put this on. Oh, that one toe got better, but now we got some growing out in the neck because it's systemic. It's inside of the dog. And you're still feeding that Hillside's bag that the vet's telling you to feed. You're not fixing the problem, and he knows it. In fact, he's selling you the poison so that he could turn around and sell you the medicine and keep you in a roundabout loop, right? So if you haven't watched my video, you need to go check it out because it's nothing more than true. I acted like I was an idiot and I didn't know better. Now, mind you, I'm not a vet, but I am a nurse. I understand a little bit about medicine. And I figured it out real quick. They're pointing me to Hillside's diet, but you're giving me steroids over here. Okay. Do I really want to be giving hydrocortisone or cortisone to my dog? And do I want to be feeding my dog a bag where the first ingredient or one of the first 3 ingredients was wheat flour? It's making no freaking sense. Make it make sense to me. You see what I'm saying? So turmeric along with omega-3 fatty acids. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm giving you this tidbit because you're watching this live, right? I'm not throwing it on shorts. I'm not throwing it anywhere else. I will throw it in the video that I'm about to be dropping. I'm dropping a series of videos to teach you how to fight yeast and how to give better nutrition to your dog. But turmeric and omega-3s are going to definitely be up there, along with other things that I will show you within those videos. All right. So I also make my own bone broth. Bone broth is great. Bone broth is great. Just make sure, you're making it natural, so it's great. Just make sure if you're going to be buying bone broth, at the supermarket, make sure to go over the ingredients because sometimes they do put some of these preservatives in there. Nadie's nice D, me too. All right. I make popsicles. I do too, which by the way, I'm coming out with a short with that. Popsicle treats out of bone broth for them. Okay, you do it with bone broth. Excellent. Liz Moore. Oh, I see Nuvet in powder form. My dogs find meds in their food and separates it. I think I'll go the powder route. Liz Moore. Listen to me, Liz. Liz. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Liz. Yeah, do this. Don't get the powder form. Trust me on this, Liz. Trust me. Okay, you're going to get 60-day money-back guarantee either way. So if what I'm about to tell you doesn't work, flip it back and get the powder. No issues, right? No harm, no foul. Go ahead and get the wafer and give them the wafer. In fact, I give the wafer to my dogs as a treat. In fact, so let me share this with you. You're going to crack up. So my girl, right? I didn't name her. I bought her with that name, so that's why her name is Girl. So my girl right here. It turns out that I am, I give her Nuvet every day. So what I did when she first got here was I started using Nuvet to potty train her. So, right? So y'all gonna crack up, man. But so my girl will walk to the door and kind of do this to me and look up at me. And it isn't that she wants to go out. She wants her Nuvet, right? So I'll open the door. It's crazy. She kind of trained it the other way around. So I opened the door for her to go out. And then when she comes back, she gets the treat. No, she's worked out the deal with me where she gets the treat first and then she goes out, does what she got to do, and then she comes back. So it's working. So I'm not gonna change it up. But yeah, Liz, go ahead and try it. Like I'm saying, it's gonna work out for you. Nadine says the nutrients are in the renderings. Yes, this could be true, but just make sure that you don't have too much seasoning or salts in the rendering. Eric Rutherford, whatever happened to freedom of speech? Eric Rutherford, nothing but love. Here's the deal, Eric. I took the videos down because I'm getting bullied by this huge company that's got, I don't know how many lawyers, and they could just totally trounce me in litigation. They could put me in 15 years of litigation before we could even get to a trial, which will bankrupt me immediately. So we're not even going to head in that direction. But I did speak to a lawyer, and guess what? I am allowed to have my opinion irregardless. And if I go out to where they're publicly showing a label, I could sit there and say, okay, I was going to give you my research on this that I found, but instead I'm going to give you my opinion. And there's nothing you can do. That's why I love this country. God bless America. Happy 4th of July to everybody, man. Yeah, Oakley, so do I. You got it. Cooked versus uncooked. The sugar, starches, and acidity change. Cal dropping some fire with this comment right here. When you cook it versus uncooked, it changes everything. But you know what else it changes? Especially with vegetables, okay? You're going to let out all the vitamins once you cook it. So do me a favor. If you do steam vegetables for your dog, don't throw that water out. Make sure to include that water in whatever you're preparing in their food, okay? So they can maximize and get as much nutrients as possible. Calypso Boker, what's up, man? B. Oakley, I have a 13-year-old English Hound, 6-year-old Border Terrier, and a 7-month-old XL Bully. They all live bone broth treats and pumpkin. Listen, pumpkin. You hit it. I might just drop the entire way to get rid of yeast infection tonight. Pumpkin is it's a dog superfood. Listen, pumpkin brings back the normal flora to your dog's intestine. Do you think feeding all these DL-methylcyanine and BHA and BHT and God knows, and wheat flour and corn syrup, and what do you think that does to the dog's gut? It destroys their normal biome, the germs that they have there. So the way you fight it back, right, is kefir, okay? Yogurt, sour cream, okay? Get the biome back in the gut where it needs to be. Pumpkin is super powerful nutrient, unfortunately, okay? Natural pumpkin. I know people talk about go get canned pumpkin. I don't like getting canned anything from my dogs except for sardines, because that's the only way I could access them. But whenever, fall comes around, I buy them big old pumpkins for like $5, chop them up into little pieces, put them in bags, put them in a freezer. And as the year's going on, I'm giving it to my dog. Why is it? Because if their gut biome is out of whack, okay, if they don't have the proper probiotics in their gut, what's going to end up happening is they're going to have a suppressed immune system. And then it isn't malassezia that's going to get you. It's going to be worse. It's going to be Candida albicans. And the reason I say Candida albicans is worse is because it's letting you know your dog's immune system is compromised. So you may see yeast, but trust me, under the hood, if we could look inside, cancers could be growing. There could be bacterial infections. There could be viruses, all sorts of things, because the dog has lost its ability to fight. Okay, keep this in mind, guys. And I'm not trying to alert the public here. Okay. But this goes not just for humans, but all mammals. We all have cancer cells in our bodies. Okay. Now it comes down to, do we promulgate those? Do we set an environment for them to grow? How do you set an environment? Well, first, you compromise the immune system. You don't have enough soldiers to go fight anymore. So that lets them grow, right? In addition, you add inflammation throughout the body, high sugary foods, carbohydrates, same stuff for humans, same stuff for dogs, right? If you create an environment for this thing to grow, it's going to grow, right? So let's keep on with the comments, man, because I could go on these tangents forever, man. Nothing but love. My pups love tuna, but I get nervous about mercury poisoning. Is that actually a thing? It can be, Oakley. Here I am feeding sardines out the yin yang, but I rather feed sardines. So this is what I decided to do to kind of not get into the mercury poisoning thing. I'll feed sardines for a month. Then I'll order a big old jug of omega-3 oil, salmon oil, where I know the mercury has been taken out and they process it in the whole 9 yards. They'll get that for a month, and then we're going to come back to the sardine. I believe feeding the most natural thing, but I'm also aware that there's mercury poisoning a lot in the ocean nowadays because of all the pollution. So, D. Marie, I hate typing on this iPad. Cracking up. Raul, it sounds like you are reading the side of a pack of cigarettes. Listen, ADs, people don't know. People just don't know, man. And, you know, that's what I'm doing, man. I'm just trying to bring awareness to the average person, break it down, simplify it. We're all about natural form. You guys don't know this, but I'm about to start a greenhouse here. We just planted some okra, quimbombo, for those of you that speak Spanish, okra. And because I'm making that soup. Is it because it's costly? No, okra is not. It's not the cheapest thing, but it's not the most expensive either. It's just that I rather grow it myself because I know if I'm growing it, it's completely organic. It's not going to have anything on it whatsoever, right? That's just that simple. I'm going to skip some messages just to try and catch up. We got Wesley Juries all the way from South Africa. What's up, man? He says, I feed my pup Kibble, and it was giving him a hard time to poop. I started a raw diet chicken mince with pumpkin and blueberries. Woo! I monitor him every day to check for any changing to his skin, but nothing. Only good changers. Poop are much better. Bro, it's going to take a little bit for the antioxidants to kick in and everything to kick in, guys. We're dealing with nature. This is not – see, that's the problem. We want now. And then they're like, okay, he wants now. Let's give him some of this lab protein. He wants it now. And then you got to be very careful what you ask for. So just give it a little time, man. I love to, but not sure I can afford with 4 big dogs. I don't know how much to feed either. I know to watch body weight. So D. Marie, the way I watch body weight is I watch their ribs. If I see individual ribs, they're too skinny. If I'm not able to see a rib cage, too fat. If I'm able to see a rib cage and not individual ribs, pretty much spot on. So I can tell you, D. Marie, you should be feeding about maintenance, right? Maintenance. If you're feeding raw, it should be 3% of the dog's body weight. If you're feeding maintenance, okay, I'm not talking about you're going in a dog show and you need to muscle them up or, you know, no, I'm talking about just maintenance should be about 3% of the dog's body weight. So say you have a 100-pound dog, just to make math real easy, that means you got to feed him 3 pounds worth of raw. But it might sound like a lot, but really it isn't because 70% of raw is water, right? So, you know, you can either break it down into 2 feeds, 1.5 pound here, 1.5 pound there. Just make sure you got the right nutrients, you got antioxidants, you got omega-3s in there, so on and so forth. Another reason you want omega-3s in there is because since they're anti-inflammatory, dogs' joints don't weaken. When there's inflammation in dog joints weaken. That will also play a role into your dog going east-west. All right. Kel says fireball and drink responsibly. Happy birthday, America. Happy anniversary, Raul. Nothing but love, sweetheart. You have a good one. Sulema, sodium is also bad for dogs. I do white rice to my dog without oil and I guess salt. Okay, good. Yes, whatever you're going to be giving to your dog, you're not adding salt. I'm letting you guys know right now. I have never said add salt. Golden paste. There you go. There you go. Coconut oil, and turmeric. But just make sure to add a pinch of pepper. Pinch of pepper just for absorption purposes, okay? Let's see. I'm going to skip. Stacy Kyle, number love, sweetheart. Happy anniversary to you and your wife, Raul. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Number love. Sulema. So if I'm understanding this right, I can be causing my dog's ear yeast infection by giving her too much rice. If you're giving too much rice, you're spiking the blood. So I got an answer for you. Take the rice out, bring in the sweet potato. Okay? You got more fiber in there. You're going to have less sugar. Also, reduce the amount if you can. Okay? Sweet potato is going to be better than potatoes and rice any day of the week, twice on Sunday. Okay? You can start out with that. All right? Liz Moore says, I love me some tidbits. Well, you come to the right place, sweetheart, because we're passing them out. That's every time we go live. This is what we do. Kel says you can buy turmeric like ginger and freeze it. Yeah, ginger is another thing you want to give to your dogs to fight yeast infection. Not only that, it's also real good for their stomach and digestion. So if you have a dog that has a little bit of diarrhea or anything like that, just a little bit of ginger takes you a long way. Also, I'm telling you guys, I'm getting ready to put in a greenhouse. Also, guava leaves. I have a little guava plant. I got people come over my house all the time. They're like, dude, why the hell you have guava plants? You're in what is it called? Planting zone 9, hardiness zone 9B. Like that stuff doesn't grow here. I'm like, well, it grows every summer. It dies in the winter. And then it's like Lazarus. It's reborn again. I don't know. But my whole point is I planted that plant because I want the leaves. I don't necessarily want the guavas, which guavas aren't too bad. They do have cyanide inside of them, which is another dewormer for dogs, but we'll get into that some other day. But definitely the leaves could help with digestion as well, mild diarrhea. Also, if you boil the leaves and you put them into a little spray bottle, if your dog has a hot spot and you want to go the natural route, you spray some of that. It can't get any more natural. Devera Hicks, the animal shelter will give you hill-size diet when you adopt an animal. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I've already spoken on that. Members, Mark Kibble, okay for pups also. Look, to the top, don't stop. Yes, but kibble shouldn't be more than 15% of what you're feeding your dog or puppy. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Like, kibble is only a small percentage. So, because the way you're asking the question is, oh, okay, so we'll just go get this bag of kibble. Don't rely on kibble. The way it's processed, I don't care what kibble it is. It's not conducive for your dogs, okay? But if you're going to be feeding 10%, 15%, then yes. Okay, Nadies, we are consumers. We can have whatever opinion we want to have. There you go. Caveman, what's up, man? Microbiome. There you go, man. Zulema Santiago, cooked pumpkin. Okay, so Zulema, let's have a little conversation on the cooked pumpkin, right? So pumpkin naturally has probiotics, which is the little germs in there that are good for the gut to break stuff down. When you cook it, you're killing them. So don't kill them. Give it to them raw. And if your dog doesn't want to eat it raw, at first they may not want to until they get used to it. Get yourself a cheese grater and just grate a little bit at a time. Throw it in there, right? They can't. And then I would mix it with maybe a little sour cream. This way they have no choice but to eat it, right? There you go. So Shawnee was using Nutrinuggets, but after I discovered the ingredients, like I mentioned earlier, I'm definitely going back to raw, most likely while I'm having allergies in my Merle. Yes, and Merles are notorious for allergies because the Merle gene is an incomplete protein. It's a dominant gene, but it's an incomplete protein. So in reality, that other gene is the one that's expressing because the Merle gene is the one that's throwing the spots. It's an incomplete protein. I have found with my Merle dog Congo, he has more of a tendency of allergies. And listen to this, ringworm. But it's only because I live in a swampy area. Okay, so the number one cause of yeast, I said, is high carbohydrate foods. The reason for that is because environmentally, the number one cause for yeast is going to be hot and humid. That combination of hot and humid, because water is getting into your dog's ear microscopically, right? Is getting into your dog's ear, and heat is allowing whatever's in there to promulgate, to bloom, right? Because that's what yeast is going to do. So, absolutely, Merles, I've been noticing in my Merle that I've been having that issue. However, I've done a couple of things and they're working phenomenally. Like, he's not allowed to go to that side of the yard where my neighbor's dogs are, because they have ran up and down to where they have cleared a path and killed all grass. And so the only thing that's there now is dirt. So what he would do is he'll go there, run up and down, and then lay on the dirt. I told you I live in a swamp. So high humidity, high heat, swampy or clayish soil. Yeah, malassezia all day. And then not just that, he ends up with ringworms. But this particular summer has been super humid and super hot. No ringworms, right? Make sure to stay tuned to our videos, because I'm going to reveal what I'm doing for him now, right? Oregano definitely helps. It has a particular oil called thymol inside of it, which is a fungal fighter, right? So definitely. Mine are all over 100 pounds. I may try it. D. Marie, go ahead and try it. Let me know how it goes. In fact, if you can, you could DM me what the price of a bag of 10-pound chicken in Walmart is in your neck of the woods. And I will tailor a little, if you want, of course. I will tailor a protein diet, a raw diet for your dog, for one of the 100-pound dogs, and then you could adjust based on their weight, okay? And keep it real simple, real economic for you. What about quinoa? I don't feed rice. Quinoa is good, but also in moderation, right? It's almost like barley. Christian Iraheta, how much turmeric can I put on my dog's food? Let's take a look, man. Let's see what the recommendation is, right? How much turmeric? And again, this is just a general recommendation. How much turmeric can you put on dog food? Okay, so here we go. And it sounds about right. So I'm going to go with the answer. I typically like to deep dive a little bit more. I don't always go with the first answer that pops up, but this sounds about right. So it says here, the amount of turmeric to add to your dog's food depends on their size, but a general guideline is 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon. A teaspoon is 5 ml, right? So 1/4 of a teaspoon per 10 pounds of body weight. So for larger dogs, up to 1 tablespoon. That's probably for a dog that's 100 pounds or more. 1 tablespoon is acceptable. So I'll make your life easier. I would probably, if it was me, right, the way I would do it is 1 full tablespoon for 100 pounds of dog. So if your dog is 50 pounds, it'll be half of a tablespoon, right? So go off of that, man. Kel says, blessed evening, fam. Man of great advice and adventures. Nothing but love. Stacy Kyle, I can't believe that some foods in the U.S. have BHA, BHT in them. I can't wait until it's eliminated. Well, the only way that it's going to be eliminated really is if you stop buying it. You stop buying it, they're going to stop putting it out. It's really that simple. We all grab a McDonald's when we're hungry and in a rush. Yeah. Stacy, I really believe my cancer was caused by carrageenan. Okay, so carrageenan, this right here that she's talking about, is very commonly found in wet dog food. Guys, carrageenan is commonly found in wet dog food. Stacy, thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, it's a proven carcinogen, guys. this right here, carrageenan. We got D. Marie. I'm in Florida and also swamping a lot of acreage. Yeah, I'm from Florida myself, so tell me about it. I'm from Miami, and, you know, I spent a good amount of time in the Everglades, so I know, and the Florida Keys, so I know what you're talking about. D. Taylor, a tiny bit of apple vinegar. Apple vinegar. Let me talk to you about apple vinegar. Don't put apple vinegar in the water. It's going to ferment. Put it in the kibble or in the raw food. Put it in the food, okay? White vinegar is the one that goes into the water, okay? Also, the first line to fight yeast infection is 1 part water, 1 part vinegar. Bathe your dog in that. Well, first, rinse your dog with water. Then, after you poured 1 part vinegar and 1 part water into a bucket, you're going to put the bucket over your dog. You're going to do one of these everywhere on your dog. And then you're going to let the dog air dry. Okay. And the reason you want to let the dog air dry is because you want as much of that acid to stay on there, of the vinegar to stay on there. Because vinegar, what it does is it balances the pH on the skin and on the coat. The reason that this is important is because everything in the body has to do with the environment that's there. If you have too acidic of a pH, you're going to promulgate yeast. Okay, not just yeast. You also have, all dogs have mites, and they eat that sebum that comes out of the base of the hair because dogs don't sweat. They sweat through their sweat glands that are all the way down in their paws, so they don't sweat on their back, right? So when you're feeding this high sugary food in the summertime, the way they're going to pump it out is going to be through creating this wax at the base of the hair to get rid of it. Well, you're feeding the mites. So the mites are not only getting fat and hungry, they're also reproducing, right? They're loving life. And an over reproduction of that would also cause hot spots. Keep in mind that if the coat becomes too acidic, right, not only yeast will appear, what happens when the dog scratches the ear and then scratches the body and moves the yeast from the ear to wherever it's scratched? Where it scratches is going to break the skin. If you're feeding that cheap kibble, the dog has low vitamins and low immune system, so the coat's going to be brittle and the skin is going to be easy to break. Then they naturally have germs on the skin that are now going to infect the skin. Now you have a yeast infection, you have a bacterial infection, and because everything is acidic and you're feeding all the sugar, you're now promulgating mites to also go and infect that area. So you see how it can get really bad real quick whenever you don't have balance on the coat. So the first line of defense is, and that's the maintenance, is weekly during the summertime, weekly, maybe even twice a week, we're getting a vinegar and water bath, and we're going to let your hair dry. This is just to balance you out. This is just the first line of defense. If things get worse, then we're also going to kind of move on to bigger and stronger things. All right. So Inserata, real quick, they're really tricky about the D-methionine because thought it was an amino acid and not synthetic crap version. D. Marie, I will. That's where I get my chicken. I will DM. I appreciate it. You got it. Number love. Inserata says, I used to give turmeric to our old Doberman for her arthritis. Dog has since passed, but she lived to 14. Turmeric is very powerful, guys. Very powerful. It's cheaper to get a case of chicken quarters from the butcher and either vacuum seal or Ziploc the quarters, 2 or 4 a bag. There you go. Good advice, Nadine. Devera Hicks, what all type of meat you can feed your dog? Whatever type does not give them allergies. There are protein allergens. The most common is chicken and beef. I have found that it's got more to do with the stuff they're injecting into these animals than the animals themselves. But if your dog is allergic to chicken, go to beef. If they're allergic to beef, go to lamb. If they're allergic to lamb, go to fish, and so on and so forth until you find a protein source that they're not allergic to. I'm in Volusia. I'm not sure where that's at. Volusia County. That's right. My bad. Volusia County, Florida. Billy Watton, Raul, what do you think of guava soak bath like the baking soda bath? Well, Billy, I think it could work. Only problem I have is, unfortunately, I only have one guava plant. Okay, so I'm going to have to plant several to be able to make an entire soak. So meanwhile, what I am doing is I'm spraying with it, right? And because it's completely natural and it can't harm the dogs, as long as it's not a bad case, it's just a mild case of any hot spot, any little thing I see, I hit them with it. Also, one thing that you might not know, guava leaves are great for wound healing. Okay. Indian tribes in Venezuela and Colombia, they use the guava plant. They actually chew on it and then they kind of stick it in the wounds, and it's got some sort of compounds in there that actually helps in wound healing, right? We got Slicky Bakery. What about Inukshuk dog food? What about it, man? My suggestion is watch this video completely. Look at the ingredients we're talking about. Look at all the information I'm giving you. Make a decision for yourself. Stop looking for somebody to decide for you, okay? That's the fastest way. Do not be a sheep, okay? Learn how to think for yourself. You can watch me. Don't believe everything I say. Go ahead and question me. I want you to question me, because when you question me, you're going to realize that what I'm saying is factual and has been researched and is true. And that's only going to give me more credibility in your eyes. Okay. Please don't think I'm trying to pull your ear. I'm just trying to educate you so that you know, okay, if a kibble bag has BHA, BHT, it's probably not even worth me buying. I could care less how much it costs, right? But you got to watch the whole thing and you got to learn it, man. You got to put in the time, right? You got to put in the time. Sulema, I use for fungal and flea shampoo mixed with iodine. Okay, iodine is really good. Chlorhexidine solution is good for the skin. Okay, stop right there, Isaac Pagan. I made the first chlorhexidine shampoo bath out here, right? Let me tell you a little bit about chlorhexidine. Okay, chlorhexidine was used. They give you Herbivence. I think that's what it's called. I forget. Herbivence bath before you go into surgery, which is nothing more than chlorhexidine bath all over your body before you go into surgery. Chlorhexidine is good against fungal, against bacteria. Okay, so it pretty much wipes everything out. But just like it wipes the bad, it also wipes out the good. You see what I'm saying? So chlorhexidine should be used as a very, very last instance. Do not go to chlorhexidine first because you're lazy. If you do that, trust you me, you're going to go chlorhexidine, and by the time you go chlorhexidine the second time, then you might have a full-blown yeast breakout. You better know what you're doing, and you better know how to dilute it. Also, if your dog has any cuts, chlorhexidine can be caustic. It could actually eat away at whatever's cut. So you want to be careful in using the stuff, guys. Isaac, I like the fact you bring it up. It is good, but this right here, in my opinion, is the nuclear option. This is the last thing you go to. It's not the first thing you go to. All right. So listen, guys, we've had an excellent night. Real quick before I let you go, let me just let you guys know we do have an upcoming breeding with my boy Blueberry. All right. We didn't even play Blueberry Blues tonight. We got our girl, and this is the one that I got to give her Nuvet before she goes out and pee and poop. And then we got old little Blueberry over here. They're going to be bred. I'm super excited about it. I still got slot open, so if anybody's interested, just let me know. We're receiving deposits at this time. Also, we will be doing a breeding with our girl, and that's this girl. I'm sorry, with our girl, Ali, and that's this girl right here. And we are going to be breeding her to what I call the walking standard. His name is Hector, right? So as soon as she goes in heat, we'll also be dropping a banner for her. In fact, I'll probably work on a banner this weekend so we could drop it. But either way, guys, we've been giving you the best information that we can. Let's hear the Blueberry Pimp soundtrack. I like it, the Blueberry Pimp soundtrack. Either way, guys, we're going to be dropping more and more videos. Make sure to like, share, comment, give us some love, and join us every Monday at 8 p.m. and Friday at 8 p.m. We're going to be talking dogs. It's me, Rolf from the Q, and I'll be catching you on the next one.
Like blue eyes in a sea of blue, I can't stop thinking about you. The way you walk, the way you stand, the way you do you. Blueberry motherfucker, you. That's right, blue, 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 blueberry motherfucker, you. You act like you own the place. In the QBN yard, you're far away. Blueberry motherfucker, you. Saving my nickels and dimes, taking my time so I can get my bone and structure from blueberry motherfucker, you. I know you're gonna produce. I got to save up, I gotta invest in you. Blueberry motherfucker, you. You are the best, cleaner than the rest. Blue, 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 sweet blue, you sexy motherfucker, you. We love you, we sure do. Drink you like blueberry juice.